Well, folks, we've got some big news, some changes that are going to be coming to the Washington Post. Owner Jeff Bezos, who purchased it back in 2013 for about $250 million, who initially said he was not going to get involved in the news or opinion side of the business, is making some big changes here at the Washington Post editorial side of the business. But before we get into that, drop down below, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, make sure you never miss another video from us again in the future. So, Jeff Bezos, who we know, the founder of Amazon, who also owns the Washington Post, put out a post on Twitter recently saying that there are going to be big changes coming to the opinion section with a focus on defending two core ideas: personal liberties and free markets. Starting soon, opinions opposing these pillars will not be published by the Post and left to other outlets. Bezos is justifying this by saying the internet already offers a diverse selection of views, unlike the days of the newspaper monopolies, where you didn't have that. And like I said, Bezos bought the Post back in 2013 for $250 million, made some pretty big news, I guess you could say, back in October when he decided that the Post was not going to endorse Kamala Harris for president. Really saw it. He didn't endorse Trump, but it did see it as a hedge that they were not fond of an incoming Kamala Harris administration. As of right now, it sparked a lot of backlash, which good. I'm glad. 3 out of the 10 editorial board members resigned. 21 opinion columnists called a mistake. And since, let's say, in about 250,000 subscribers canceled, contributing to about $100 million loss in 2024. But who cares? Jeff Bezos has enough money to subsidize the Post if there's any issues. But the issue was not that they lost 250,000 subscribers since that happened. The real thing is how left-wing, the lunacy that has taken place at the Post. You look at the daily website visitors back in 2021 was 22.5 million visitors per day. That dropped to under 3 million in the summer of 2024. Just because Jeff Bezos is making a shift for the long-term sustainability of the Post does not mean that is what's causing the downtrend. The downtrend happened back in 2021 when they went full-on liberal lunacy, where you were basically a Nazi if you supported, and I wouldn't say Nazi, but you were very far right-wing, and you should be put in jail. You should not have freedom of speech when it comes to discussing parental rights in the classroom. They felt that talking about the facts were not okay. Anybody who did not agree exactly with what they said are lunatics, should be thrown in jail. It's just absolutely insane what they did. But let's take a look at the actual post that Jeff Bezos put out here. I shared this note with the Washington Post team this morning. Now, before we get into all of this, like we said, Jeff Bezos is making changes, but this does not make him some sort of Republican folklore or folk hero. He still is a part of the complex of billionaires who, for the most part, have tried to oppose Trump. He's making a few little switches here or there that are disrupting the liberals and what they want to do. Does not mean that he is all of a sudden on our side. Let's just get that out there right now. I'm writing to let you know about a change coming to our opinion pages. We are going to be writing every day in support and defense of two pillars: personal liberties and free markets. We'll cover other topics too, of course, but viewpoints opposing those pillars will be left to be published by others. There was a time when a newspaper, especially one that was a local monopoly, might have seen it as a service to bring the reader doorstep every morning a broad-based opinion section that sought to cover all views. Today, the internet does that job. I am of America and for America, and proud to be so. Our country did not get here by being typical, and a big part of America's success has been freedom in the economic realm and everywhere else. Freedom is ethical, and it minimizes coercion and practical and drives creativity, invention, and prosperity. I offer David Shipley, whom I greatly admire, the opportunity to lead this new chapter. I suggest to him that if the answer wasn't hell yes, then it had to be no. After careful consideration, David decided to step away. This is a significant shift. It won't be easy, and it will require 100% commitment. I respect the decision. We will be searching for a new opinion editor to own this direction. I am confident that free markets and personal liberties are a right for America. I also believe these viewpoints are underserved in our current market of ideas and news opinion. I'm excited for us together to fill that void. Here's the thing. That's great. You want to make a shift towards freedom, personal liberties, great. I'm all about it. But we're not going to all of a sudden embrace you as this folklore in the MAGA movement, in the America First movement. Just not going to happen. You've got decades to make up for. Let's just put it that way. But free markets and personal liberty are fundamental. And just, we're not going to focus on liberal hysteria. Focusing on trans and children, saying how it is a crime to consider that there may be side effects for some people from vaccines. Even if a vaccine is 95% safe and 100 million people take that vaccine, that's still 5 million people of our constituents who could have side effects from it. To deny that exists, to say it's mostly safe for most people, that's an accurate statement. But to say that it is safe for everyone is not true. There are vaccine injuries. To say that these people are trying to kill your children because of that, it's just ridiculous. Now let's listen over at CNN. Scott Jennings absolutely Let's just take a listen in over at CNN and Scott Jennings.
Ridiculous word game that's going on here. I mean, who doesn't believe in individual liberties? Who doesn't believe in free markets? Who's going to be against those things?
So clear thing, you said who would be against individual liberties? It has not been that many years ago in this country when a great many public officials, elected and unelected, were adamantly opposed to individual liberties.
That a billionaire is controlling how our media is going to cover this president. Billionaire Jeff Bezos.
How many radio stations does George Soros own?
Listen.
A few. Here's the thing.
But George Soros is actually okay with different opinions.
There are more information sources than ever. We have the most democratized media that we've ever had. We have more people than ever that have access to disseminating information. It's not a bad thing.
One person at a
It's not a
time.
bad thing. And look, he has one paper. There's lots of newspapers. There's lots of ways to get information right now. I think what's going on here is...
So are you agreeing? I mean, I think that what they're saying over here is that Jeff Bezos is actually moving the paper ideologically in a particular direction. It sounds like you're saying that that is what he's doing because he's trying to create a niche for the Washington Post.
What I read, yes, I agree that he's trying to carve out a niche for that opinion page, which may not be a terrible business idea, and I don't know what direction he's going to move it. But these two big topics are vital topics.
It's ridiculous. It's not a niche at all.
But you know what's interesting?
He owns the newspaper, and this is the business direction he wants to take it. It's like any other business you own. If you own it, you can take it. And if it works, it'll be great. And if it doesn't, it won't be. But he's the owner. He's got to make the business decisions. He thinks it's a good one.
This is a little bit of a...
That is 100% true. Just think about, remember back when Twitter, I can remember not that long ago, when Twitter was owned by someone named Jack Dorsey. And they were very, they had policies on Twitter that you read them, you'd think it'd be good for conservative, free speech is okay. But in practice, they were suppressing conservatives. They were kicking conservatives off the site. Anybody who really disagreed with the mainstream liberal media, you're kicked off Twitter. And what did all the liberals say at that time? Well, if you don't like it, it's a private entity. Go build your own Twitter. And you know what? And that's what they did. Elon Musk bought Twitter. And now freedom of speech is very prevalent on Twitter, unlike how it was before. And this is a broader trend that we're seeing. A lot of news organizations are shifting. Doesn't mean they're shifting to the right, but there are shakeups that we're seeing. You look at MSNBC. They canceled Joy Reid's show. Alex Wagner and Jonathan Capehart in early 2025. CNN was going to move Jim Acosta to the midnight slot, and he ended up just leaving over that. There's major shakeups happening. The Trump 2.0 is going to cause major shifts in the way media is reported. And it's a shift away from the legacy media to the independent journalists. That's just how it is. Like we said, Jeff Bezos owns the business. If this is the direction he wants to take it, that's what he's going to do. And you look at Amazon, another bonus point that we're going to give Jeff Bezos is Amazon recently lifted a ban on Ryan Anderson's book that is critical, very critical of transgenderism in early 2025. You look at the censorship files. They're the Twitter files, expose and censorship from Twitter that Elon Musk released back in 2022. We are seeing for the first time in almost 20 years that Americans, according to recent polls, think that the country is on the right track for the first time. Like I said, in 2 decades. Bezos is trying to carve out a niche for free markets, personal liberties. Doesn't mean that he's going to be in the MAGA circle, but he obviously is trying to increase viewership among the majority of Americans, not to just pander to the left wing. He says he's for America. He is of America and for America and proud to be so. That's just what it is. In the Babylon Bee, now this is an older article, but they are able to wrap it up very nicely. Dems explain they don't want billionaires controlling our media unless they're Bezos, Zuckerberg, Gates, Bloomberg, Buffett, or Soros. There's a lot of outcry right now. They don't want Elon Musk to buy Twitter. They don't want Jeff Bezos to take a private entity in a different direction. But when you have George Soros, who funds many major media ventures, who funds, who just purchased 200 plus radio stations, that's a form of media. Where was the Democrat outrage when George Soros did that? Where's the outrage with Bloomberg owning Bloomberg and their terminals that they offer and the web and their news organization that they offer and their opinion pages? Where was the outrage there? Where was the outrage when Zuckerberg owned Facebook, where the majority of things that were shared on there was news, political, and media content? Where were they? Where were they with Warren Buffett? He has a big stake in Disney, which owns ABC and ESPN. Where were they then? They don't want billionaires controlling our media unless they're the billionaires that are funding them, that are on their side. They said back in 2022 that Elon Musk buying Twitter would represent a dangerous new world where billionaires who disagree with me own massive big tech companies. Said a local Democrat activist and vegan smoothie cart owner, Polly X. Weldon. Imagine a world in which social media sites can just ban you for your opinion if it's unpopular. Wow, oh my gosh, it's almost like the Democrats in the mainstream media did that to the Republicans and the conservatives for the last 10 years. Save your crocodile tears for some other horseshit, idea. Because that's what it is. It's horseshit. It's horse crap. Screw you guys. This Babylon Bee, it's so funny. April 18th, 2022. It has lasted the test of time. Let's just say that. That article has lasted the test of time. But obviously, the Post is going to be going in a different direction. Doesn't mean it's full conservative, but personal liberties and freedom, and free markets are going to be a big thing. It's like, you look at Bernie Sanders. Since Election Day, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg have become $232 billion richer and are now worth almost $1 trillion combined. Meanwhile, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Coming from the biggest leech on the ass of society. This guy has been on the government payroll for 40 years, writes books and makes money that way, and has, 3 or 4 houses and is worth like 10 million plus? You obviously don't know how free markets work and how the stock market works. Clearly not. The stock market is a big bull run. Now, although I believe we're in a bubble right now and that bubble's going to burst here soon. Maybe, we don't know when it's going to burst, but there will be a correction at some point. I don't want to say burst because burst makes it seem like it's going to drop 90% the whole market. We're going to have a correction. Whether it's a 10, 20, 30, 40% correction, I have no idea. But earnings of the S&P 500 are like 10 percentage or 10 points higher than what they typically are. Your price to earnings ratio is about 10 points higher than it typically is. He just has a clear lack of understanding of how the world works, coming from the biggest leech on the ass of society here. So Let me know. That's the breakdown for Bezos making some changes at the Washington Post. It's a big move. Facts only, no fluff. But what do you think about this? What do you think about this shift? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. As always, like, share, subscribe for more. Don't ever miss another video, and we will catch you next time.